Hello everybody, it's AlexKillings97 here. Now I'm sorry I haven't done any Elder Scrolls Lore episodes recently, but I did not realise they were, I suppose, as well. I didn't think they were getting many views, but it turns out the last pod got quite a few views, and it was quite liked as well. So I thought, seeing as I haven't done any at all, I should probably go back to doing some. Anyway, I thought, I didn't get any requests. As I said, I wanted requests for my last part. I didn't get any, that's really what I was waiting for. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna have to just go ahead and do my own thing. So what I'm gonna do, guys, now is I've done about Tamriel. I thought now maybe if I look into the different provinces separately for a bit. I might not do all the provinces, but I'll try and do as many as I can. I thought I'd start with the province of my favourite race, Morrowind. So, Morrowind is the province in the northeast corner of Tamriel. I've got a map, as you can see, right there. There are basically two islands as well to Morrowind. There is the Vardenfell Island, which is the smaller part of the island, as you can just see. And the Vardenfell Island is also the I suppose the place where the Red Mountain is, and if you don't know what the Red Mountain is, it is basically the volcano that erupted in Morrowind. There is actually a story to how it erupted, and I know it because I have read the Elder Scrolls books, which is basically about that. I might make a video on that if you want, guys, but yeah, I'm not going to talk much about the Red Mountain in particular. But the Red Mountain exploded at the beginning of the Fourth Era, and basically that is and I will talk more about that in this part about how that affects the Dark Elf race as well. And the other Morrowind, the island in Morrowind, is just called Morrowind. It is the Morrowind mainland, basically. And the Sea of Ghost is the sea that separates the islands together, and that is basically what surrounds Morrowind. And it is, of course, the home of the Dunmer or Dark Elven races. There is also quite a bit of history to Morrowind. Because, historically, Vardenfell was inhabited by the Dwemer, who are also known as the Dwarves by the lesser races of Tamriel these days. For the long ages, before the Altmer arrived in Tamriel, when the Altmer inhabited Cyrodiil, a group of them were exiled by their choice to worship the Daedra. These exiled Altmer were led by the prophet Valoth over a mountain range to Morrowind, where they became known as the Chimer and settled with the Dwemer. The Chimer are basically the Chimer became the Dunmer, guys. Okay, you get a lot of history with these. Basically, every race has been something else, and you develop. It's just basically like the human race was once like apes and stuff. And they gradually turn into something different. That is basically what happened as well with the Dunmer or the Dark Elves. They were once Chimer, and they've turned along the ages, possibly mating with the dwarves, maybe just from the natural course of time in their homeland, they would have developed into the Dunmer race kind of thing. So that is a bit of history on the Dunmer. However, though, of course, the Dunmer and the dwarves or the Dwemer weren't really peaceful. I suppose they didn't really like each other. Often the Dwemer were, not exactly loved. Probably they were used often with the Dwemer. And they did eventually go into conflict over the land Morrowind. And of course, the Dunmer did win, and they did kick the Dwemer. Well, I suppose they kicked the Dwemer out of Morrowind. But they basically as well. The thing is with Morrowind, they don't exactly in Morrowind, the religion they follow isn't the same as the rest of Tamriel or most of Tamriel. Whilst most provinces they worship the 9 divines, they don't. They worship like Daedra in Morrowind. They're, as it said, that's why the Chimer actually did get. As I said, that's why they actually got kicked out of with the Altmer, because they wanted to worship Daedra, and that is basically when it comes to it. And the head of Morrowind, a group called the Tribunal. You know, and going back over though as well to the Red Mountain. With the Red Mountain, when it exploded, it did cause, it has destroyed quite a lot of Morrowind. You know, a lot of the cities such as Balmora, Vivek, they're now destroyed. Okay, they're destroyed. They are rebuilding it, obviously, but it was destroyed. And if that wasn't the worst of it, the Argonians, who had been enslaved in Morrowind, because Morrowind is also, as well as it being, it's also quite a, I don't know what the word is here. It's quite a, in a way, it's not the nicest province, as well as the citizens. You know, it's basically they were still enslaving Argonians and Khajiit. You know, if you played the game Morrowind, you couldn't, if you were Khajiit, you couldn't, or an Argonian, you couldn't wear hats and shoes, because they're thought of slaves really, and you can't really, it's illegal for them to do that, or it was illegal for them to do that. So you kind of get this. Morrowind isn't exactly the friendliest province as well, but so it's basically just going to, back to that, and then obviously when the Red Mountain exploded, Black Marsh being just under Morrowind, the Argonians had a good, wanted revenge on them for enslaving them, and they also would have had their land stolen by Morrowind, as well. So, of course, when they see Morrowind really weakened, they charge in and just take back their land, and really do put really make the rest of Morrowind, cause more of Morrowind trouble, as well as the Red Mountain. Now they've got the Argonians on their backs, so then the Argonians come back with their land, and really Morrowind is at the moment sacked. It's basically destroyed. So of course now what is mainly known as Morrowind. At one point, guys, this was actually Skyrim, but now Solstheim is a part of Morrowind, and so this is why I'm going to talk about it now, because to current day, Solstheim is Morrowind. Okay, guys, so Solstheim is the small island just above Morrowind, and it's east of Skyrim. It's basically a very small island, which only consists of two dark elven villages. That is Raven Rock and Tel Mithrin. And they're just basically very small settlements on Solstheim. Now, obviously, not all of the Dunmer went over to Solstheim. Some would have gone obviously to Cyrodiil, Skyrim, as you saw on Skyrim. Basically, the Windhelm is full of Dunmer. So they have, they're there, and some, of course, guys, did stay in Morrowind. Although it was sacked, they still stayed in Morrowind to repair what was lost. So basically, they have done that, and at the moment, the original capital city was Mournhold. Now the capital city of Morrowind is called Blacklight, and you can see on the map. It is, I can't really show you guys, but it's right. It is the northwestern, the very northwestern city. You can just see it in the corner of the Morrowind mainland island on the left, the very corner. You can just see it there. That is the capital city of Morrowind, guys. Basically, I would have guessed Mournhold might have been lost to the Argonians. By now, there isn't really much on that topic that I can find, so unfortunately I can't really talk much about that. The Red Mountain exploded in the 4th era at 5, so that's only 5 years after the events of Oblivion, guys, as well. So Blacklight has been the capital city for a long time now, guys. A very long time. And it has, so basically the moment Morrowind is destroyed now, really, and there are still, and another big thing about Morrowind is they also have these things called houses, and it's basically their house. They have like the noble houses of Morrowind. They are Redoran, Indoril. I can't pronounce all these guys. Drez and Telvanni. They are the name of all the houses, also districts of Morrowind. The Redoran in the west, bordering Cyrodiil and Skyrim, traditionally administered by the House Redoran, of course. They all have, this is basically all their own parts of Morrowind. The Helelu, I can't actually pronounce this, guys, it's really hard to pronounce. In the central western part of the mainland, traditionally administered by House Helelu, I can't pronounce that one. Then the Indoral one is making up the central eastern part of the mainland, traditionally administered by House Undoral. Dress in the south, forming the border with the Black Marsh / Argonia, traditionally administered by House Dres. And then the Telvanni, the eastern region of the province, traditionally administered by House Telvanni. So yeah, that's and also the Solfstein Island is basically the property of the Redoran family, or house, I suppose. And Vardenfell is traditionally administered by the House Telvanni, and the House Helelu in the central and southwest, and House Redoran in the remaining areas. So basically, that's basically, I suppose, all there is to talk about Morrowind. It's quite a hard topic to talk about as well, guys, because it's also, so sorry, you have to forgive me about that, because it's also very hard to actually find information which is to the current day, not just before the events of Oblivion. So you have to forgive me on this. But yeah, guys, the next part of this will be better, obviously, because I have to try and piece all the bits together. That still works, I suppose. Next time, I will try and do Cyrodiil. Or Skyrim or something like that, or try and do one of the provinces that I've been on a game to make it a little bit easier for me to do about. So I will see you in the next part of my Elder Scrolls Lore series, and I'll see you then, guys.